It looks like Marvel's Spider-Man 2 is embroiled in yet another controversy. This one's hilarious, though. This one is when woke white Americans or Westerners, essentially, think that they know better than whatever pocket puppy they have, purse puppy that they have. Essentially, this is the mindset of the modern liberal in video games and in Hollywood. Brown people need my help. Brown people are inherently oppressed and must, they need the help of me, a white person, to essentially discriminate against them, to force my ideology on, to colonize their language. It's never been more hilarious than, shout out to all my Latinos and Latinas in my viewership that have soundly rejected this ideology. It starts with the Latinx thing, which you really only see on college campuses from overweight, greasy SJW types. No actual Latino is ever asked to be called Latinx. The famous TikTok where a guy's wearing he's wearing a poncho and he's like a caricature of a Mexican person. He's wearing like a big sombrero and a fake mustache, and he goes around asking Mexican people well, they're in America, but people who appear for, maybe immigrated here or whatever, I don't know. He's asked a bunch of white people, is this offensive? They say, yes. Oh, it's terrible. Then he goes and talks to 5 straight Mexican people. I'm no, you look good, man. It looks cool. I like it. This is quintessential being offended on everyone else's behalf. Well, a very popular streamer who speaks Spanish, Rubius, was playing the new Spider-Man game, and it turns out that they had completely, Spanish is a gendered language, and so essentially what the makers of this video game did was colonize their language and completely have it make no sense whatsoever to make it inclusive. Now, this is the reaction of a streamer who's speaking Spanish, so people that watch me can speak, who speak it know. You see he's reacting to the voiceover. He's laughing. Paused it because he's like, what? What the heck? What is this? So he ends up pausing the game and turning off the voiceover. This, of course, offended white people. And you see this article from Niche Gamer. Marvel Spider-Man 2 butchers the Spanish language to be inclusive. Social media users learned the alleged Spanish version of Marvel Spider-Man 2 alters the Spanish language to be inclusive and to the point of it being grammatically incorrect. Twitter users shared a video of the alleged Spanish version of the game and started to break down why it makes no sense. Here's an interesting thing for Latinos. Spider-Man 2 has, quote, inclusive language. For those English speakers, this would be like spreading Latinx all over the game. Now you can predict what NPC has fatherless behavior. Spanish is a gendered language, meaning certain words are said differently depending on the gender of the person they're being spoken about. As an example, for non-Spanish users would be, I'm not even going to try to pronounce that. We're referring to a female, and another word when we're referring to a male. Here's a more in-depth from actual Spanish speakers. So what did he actually say? In Spanish, they're only masculine and feminine. Doctor and doctora. Un and una. And entomologist. And entomologo. And entomologia. I don't know. So it has to be Dr. Young. So they're saying there's no X or E. Woke crap. I mean, everybody... This is even worse than just using Latinx. Holy crap. I'm not Spanish, but as far as I can tell, stuff like this word is not even a word in the Spanish language. You see, this is correct. In Spanish, words have gender, doctor, doctora. White Americans changing another country's language to make themselves feel better. Video game companies seem to be pandering to the same individuals who constantly denounce the United States for colonization. It's worth mentioning, said individuals and companies seem to have no issue with rewriting another country's language to be, quote, inclusive. Here's only some of the comments disgusted by this. It's worth noting that plenty of Spanish speakers were also upset. It's weird how leftists throw out a racial slur, then just say that it isn't a slur and keep saying it when they're asked to stop by the people in question. This is the Latinx thing. Looks like they made a great decision choosing Super Mario Wonder over pandering Spider-Man 2 this week. White game devs determined once again to alter a language that isn't theirs. Spanish is deliberately dual-gendered. Why? Because there are two of them. And then the Hispanics, when you call them a slur, they laugh. Hispanics, when you call them Latinx, not laughing. You know, endless. So, I mean, you have all this stuff, right? So this streamer does what, like, any normal person would do, and they're like, what in the heck is going on here? These words aren't even normal. Asmongold, who is a very popular streamer, I don't know if he's playing Spider-Man, but most people know him for World of Warcraft or, you know, other RPGs, Final Fantasy, stuff like that. So there's all sorts of, he comes out and says, his original quote was, here.
Spanish streamer Rubius mutes Spider-Man 2 after hearing gender-neutral Spanish. What?
Lo sé, pero el hombre al mando, Harry Osborn, tiene buena reputación. Y encima ha contratado a mi científica de abejas favorite. Le apidólogue...
Favorite is not a word. Favorite is not a Spanish word. It's either favorito or favorita.
Jong es le mayor experte en el desorden de
Experte is also not a Spanish word. It's either experto or experta.
colapso de colonias.
Nope. Turn that shit up. So basically,
nothing wrong with
this like a continuation of Western cultures appropriating the Spanish language and the Spanish culture to incorporate gender conforming language on behalf of all Americans that are not
here's where things get, here's where he gets in trouble.
Americans that are not mentally ill. I'd like to apologize to the Spanish community. We don't want this either. We think it's just as ridiculous as you do, and in fact, we're even more embarrassed because it's our people doing it.
I agree.
That your language changed by a developer that is not even from your fucking country to change it in order to make it inclusive to Western values. It's unironically cultural appropriation. It's insane.
I mean, it's unironically colonization. I think like it's of their language anyway. One story segment featuring a non-binary scientist, of course, recently stirred more controversy when Spanish streamer Rubius muted the podcast. We all know why. It's a gendered language, of course, so they just make up new words that don't exist. He calls them obviously mentally ill. His comments quickly caused some drama when they spread to social media, with a Twitter user accusing Asmongold of mocking mental illness. He's not mocking it. He's just calling it out. He's saying, yeah, these are the actions of somebody who is mentally ill. It's weird. Nobody in this country actually supports this in any way, shape, or form. It's bizarre. It's creepy. All these things, right? So, of course, I don't think LGBTQ people are mentally ill, but I think you are, the streamer hit back. Have fun tweeting it. Enjoy it. I'm not worried about this. Get mad all you want. It doesn't change reality. And the reality is that the majority of Spanish speakers that I've spoken to, and myself as well, and if you read the comments on the video of all the Spanish speakers, they're agreeing with me. Asmongold reiterated that he was, in fact, just the messenger, and he has no qualms with LGBTQ individuals. Well, yeah, I mean, of course, that's the funny part.
Here we go again. What is this? Oh, I think I saw this last night even. Spanish streamer Rubius mutes spelled by weird reply guys. And then she says, fuck it, did the blame to the LGBT community. I've heard some.
It's actually has nothing to do with the LGBTQ community. It has everything to do with like woke weirdos pushing their ideology on other nations that reject it. They're like, here, let me help you. Let me help you. Let me help you be more inclusive by actually changing your entire language. Because didn't you know that Spanish is oppressive? Didn't you know that you're oppressing people? And let me, a white person, correct that / fix that for you. The whole thing is hilarious. Asmongold's 100% right, of course. And, this should be a good learning point. Again, woke people are actually the true racists in society. They keep proving it over and over again. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to leave a like on it, and we'll talk to you again real soon.